So back at camp. Actually,
Yes.
yeah, back at camp. What is Kelian's disposition towards Dolphinder? Dolphinder wants Kelian to step up and be the voice of reason in this haphazard group.
Okay, I'm back.
Okay.
My internet's just been dropping all weekend for some reason.
Let me just get a quick answer from Kelian, and then we'll go back and finish resolving that.
Kelian thinks that is the most absurd thing he's ever heard. Kelian being the voice of reason.
Dolphinder lays it out, though, and says, but you're the one they followed to Pandemonium. You know, you're the one that is giving them jobs to take up. You know, you're the one who's connected them with this patron of yours. So you're clearly not the leader of this leaderless group, but they pay attention to what you say. They listen to your counsel. The ciphers in particular, they're the ones that need to be reined in the most.
Well, the ciphers are gonna do what the ciphers are gonna do. But even then, Kelian trails off.
And at that, she sits back down on the ground and says, then I will discuss it no more.
Sorry, you broke up. She will what more?
She'll discuss it no more. Sorry she brought it up. And she goes back to pouting. Serenity, LC Clone hums the tune.
Oh, at that point, I don't...
It's too late now!
Yeah.
So he hums this tune that you're sure only your family on Bitopia and your companions would know.
Alright, well, I don't see any reason for you to have tried to get that information out of them, so I'm going to assume that you've been transfigured into some sort of horrible lizard demon, and I'll do my best to cure you as soon as I find Mahogany or someone who might have an idea on how.
Well, I'd say just give it a day or so, and I think it'll all work out.
Where are we?
We are right where we were before. Just, like I said, you had a little too much to drink last night.
I'm going to look down at the ground, and that caused this place to become a swampy hellscape.
No, it's the same place.
And LC Clone, looking up over the hill, you can see the massive form of Mornpod resting at the beach.
I'll point to Mornpod and say, "Hey, that's the whale. Remember from the other day?"
That's a monstrosity I've never seen the like of before.
Yeah, don't let him hear you say that.
You're gonna hurt his feelings.
And I'll politely grab her shoulders and say, "Can we just go back to where the others are?"
Serenity will nod and start following him.
All right, and start heading back to where we left Kelian and Dolphinder and Xanthes.
Okay. How far away is Mahogany staying from the burrow that Riot found?
At this point, Mahogany still needs to eat something today.
Okay.
So he's probably only staying within a couple miles, because he needs to find something to hunt.
Make a survival check.
And plus, maybe she'll be drawn back with the power of song from this excellent drum. 15.
15, okay. I think that's good enough here. Yeah, that's fine. You hunt down a hare and rip its muscle apart, devour it. Delicious.
Alright, now I can make, with this hair fur, I can make the tiny little drum I was going to make and bring her back through the power of music. I'm pretty sure I remember this.
You're coming back with that plan in mind. Riot.
Uh-huh.
This burrow's not very large. It's big enough where you're not uncomfortable, but there's not a lot of headroom. You couldn't stand up in here.
Mm-hmm.
And after a while, you start hearing this extremely vicious snickering sound coming from outside.
That doesn't... I'll poke my head out to see... let me make a stealth check.
How are you stealthily poking your head out?
Just poking it out very carefully.
Well, once your head's out of the burrow, anybody who's looking at the burrow can see it. There's no way to be stealthy about it.
That's fine.
Okay. And looking poking your head out, on either side, you see these 3 insect-like creatures. They're big, very big. Easily the size of Mahogany when he turns into a wolf and has done his scouting when you were back on the Beastlands. They have 1,000 little legs skittering across the ground. And this is the origin of this bizarre snickering sound. You see these huge mandibles coming off the front of their dripping insect faces, clacking together and making this sound. And they're coming towards the front of the burrow. Mahogany, coming back with what's left of this hair, coming up over the hill, looking down where you left Riot, you see a pack of hyenas starting to circle around outside the burrow, and she's poking her head out. And we're going to call that initiative.
Okay. So I'm surprised and afraid.
You are surprised and afraid.
Got a good initiative roll, though.
How'd Riot do?
19.
19. And how'd Mahogany do?
10.
10. Riot, this fear overcomes you with these clearly angry and vile creatures. Suddenly you're like, where's the vile hunt when we need them? But the creatures outside, they don't seem to be making any motion to attack you. They seem to be circling warily out in front of the burrow. Bring this to Mahogany.
Alright, I am going to transform into a bear, run up, and growl at the hyenas. I'm trying to frighten them away.
Okay. Make an intimidation check. Use your strength mod.
That's 20?
20?
Yeah.
So Riot, once again, the giant scorpion up in the distance. This time it transforms into something even more monstrous. This large, just shambling pile of melting flesh covered in eyes and gelatinous tentacles. And it makes this roaring sound as it comes tearing down the hill at this incredibly fast speed. The insect creatures outside break and scatter. They run in at least 3 different directions. But now this giant flesh creatures come barreling down the hill. That's going to bring us back to Riot.
Duck back in the burrow.
Okay.
This is terrifying.
And this burrow is too small for Mahogany to fit into in this form. So what does Mahogany do?
That's fine. I'm going to go get my wood, and I'm going to build myself the drum of friendship.
Let's see, how long will it take to craft a drum? Because you have to dry out the hide. I'm not sure what else involved.
I figure the wood part I would have had time to do before when I said I was working on the wood part.
Sure.
So it would just be the hide part. And I mean,
But is
You
that
need some way to
it's
need
not
some way to fasten it to the wood.
it's not like Minecraft where
Yeah.
you just kill a bear and then a 1 unit of leather pops out of it. Like you have to do things.
No,
you have to
no,
cure
I
and
know,
dry
I
the
know.
leather to get it to work.
I'm gonna have a fun time with this because I figure I can dry it out pretty well by like using a stretching it over a fire,
Okay.
and then once that's happened, I mean maybe like pegs made out of wood would be suffice to hold it over the drum.
Well, we established
Yeah,
that you
sure.
brought your tools with you. Your set of carpenter's tools. You said that
Yeah,
those were
yeah,
on
yeah.
you when you came to the Beastlands. So, Riot, what you see is this gelatinous creature melts back down into the shape of a scorpion, and over just the next couple of hours, it just takes its claws to this what's left of this small furry animal, and you just watch it as it's mutilating this corpse. And it's disgusting, and it's terrifying, and you can't get away from it because it's blocking your exit.
I'm gonna see. I mean, this has worked a few times before. I'm gonna see if I can cast Dissonant Whispers on it. Make it go away.
What do I have to roll for that?
That is a wisdom saving throw.
Wait, does the spell actually work? Because I am hallucinating.
I know. Don't worry.
Oh, pleasant whispers.
It heals you and makes you want to go closer to him.
Just very encouraging words, like, you can do it. Good job.
This is an excellent plan. You're doing a good job. 14.
14.
My saving throw is 15.
15.
Or
So
rather, my DC. My DC is 15.
So he fails the save. Here's what happens. You don't get any healing effects. But you see Riot in the cave, and you've seen her use this spell a lot. Every time she gets that look on her face and she focuses it away, this is where you see her enemies, their faces curl up in pain, and they get nosebleeds, and sometimes they just die. Sometimes they just drop over dead. But your head fills up with this discordant melody, but it doesn't sound terrifying. It sounds hilarious. Like, it sounds like she's trying her hardest to play pleasant, calming music and is just messing it up. And all it makes you want to do is crawl into the burrow with her.
And I think to myself, right, is that what you want me to play for you? I'll do it.
Okay. So before you know it, Mahogany, this scorpion creature, is clawing its way into the burrow with you, and now it's even closer than it was before.
And I will play her on my shittily made, not quite leathered correctly drum. The tune that I half heard in my brain 5 minutes ago.
Okay. Make a performance check against Riot's wisdom check. Wisdom 10. Or no, wisdom check. It's an opposed roll. Come on, Bricker, you're with it. I'm not used to doing opposed rolls between PCs.
Yeah.
-1.
Oh, I rolled really good. 16.
I got a -1.
I think my 16 beats your -1.
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah.
How are you guys doing back at the shoreline? What's the next plan of attack for you guys there?
At this point, I'm cautiously following them.
Okay, and where do you guys lead her?
Back to the camp with Kelian and Dolphinder and Xanthus.
And
Crash, 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 crash with every step she takes.
You guys,
So we hear her coming.
You
Yeah,
see this
Kelian, you
bizarre
hear us coming.
trail forming behind Serenity. Like, make your stealth check at a -10 penalty, I guess. As this trail of just... It looks like she's gouging
6.
out the dirt and stone behind her wherever she moves.
That's really impressive.
But it looks like when they get Serenity back to camp, it looks like she's no longer fleeing from the group. So what is the decision from here?
Kelian asks Ciclon, is she still under the influence?
Nearest I can tell, but at least I don't think she doesn't want to punch my face again. So we're making progress.
Are you still lizard people? Because, I can hear you talking. You don't have to talk about me in the third person.
Kelian looks at Serenity, and then looks back at Ciclon.
I'll point at Kelian and say, that's Kelian, Dolphinder, and that's Xanthus.
I assumed as much from his disdainful tone.
Can I roll? Can I roll with my poisoner's kit to figure out if there's something like some sort of more than just the alcohol affecting them?
You would have to have a sample of the alcohol, and there's none left.
There's none left.
No, there's the best is a couple of broken jugs with a little bit of like a drop here or a drop there, but no, there's not enough to task it. You do know that you watched. No, you didn't watch Mahogany try to purify it, so never mind. You don't know that.
Yeah.
Where do the others go? Kelian?
Serenity or Mahogany went and chase down Riot,
All right, so I guess
and I
we better
point
go.
in the general direction that they ran off to.
All right, so I guess we better go help them then. clap Doffner and Xanthes on the shoulder and say, "Let's go."
So you all trek up over the hills. And you come across the site of this burrow in the side of this hill. And Mahogany is blocking he's sitting inside of it, kind of whistling to himself cheerfully, building something, facing away from you. And deep inside the burrow, you hear Riot's whimpering sounds.
Yeah, she's like just trying to dig into the wall with her bare hand. It's not going great.
I mean, it's mostly soil. So how much of an attempt are you making at this?
She's terrified. She's just trying to get away from this terrible thing that's crowding.
You can also hear the sounds of incredibly shitty drumming.
And Riot, good news.
Yeah.
A huge pack of these giant scorpions has appeared over the hill and is coming your direction. Like a lot of them.
Call out to Mahogany and say, "Hey, I'm guessing you found her."
She's over here. I'm trying to get through to her with the only thing she understands: music. Do you think I'm doing it right?
Cock my head. Shake my head. No.
He's definitely not doing it right.
You're not doing it right. You're doing it very, 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 very wrong.
Riot, make another wisdom saving throw.
One of these days I'll fail it.
Well, you want to pass this one.
Oh, well, in that case I got a 9.
Oh, okay. Never mind then. And the more these scorpion creatures are talking to each other, the further you're trying to dig back into this soil. Mahogany, noticing what Riot's doing, you see she's still facing you, but she's digging with her hands and elbows, trying to push back into the soil, and you see she's making headway into the wall. Part of it's collapsing down over her legs, like she's trying to bury herself in there. And you think if you let her do this much longer, this whole burrow might collapse on both of you.
And I say, Riot, stop! You're gonna collapse the whole thing. Here, I'm getting out. And I back off. But I leave the drum and I push it over to her and I go, "Here."
There's this
you use it.
Really terrible drum sitting on the ground.
What does it look like to me?
It looks like it's got spikes on the sides, so if you tried to play it, it would snap closed on you and mutilate both of your hands.
I'll go over to the burrow.
Okay.
Poke my head down in there. And hold up my hand and say, "Riot, it's me, Ciclon. Please, calm down. And everything will be alright."
Alright, make that a post check. Persuasion versus wisdom check. It's just not happening.
It's the thought that counts, at least. I'm
gonna grab Ciclone and pull him away, and I'll say, "Ciclone, she's gonna collapse the whole thing in on herself. Get out of there."
While you're watching this up on the hill, Kelian, Bobrick steps in next to you and leans in real close and whispers. Serenity, you notice this happening next to you, and so does Dolphin clearly, but you can't hear what Bobrick whispers. He whispers, "Do you have any knockout drug? Something you can shoot her with and put her to sleep?"
Well, I do have this, and he takes out the vial of poison egg. It could be sleeping. It could also be fatal. So,
And when he hears the explanation of it, you just see his face swirl up in disappointment. And then he looks back and calls back down and says, "Ciclone, just grab her and take her away. There's no way she can fight us the way Serenity did."
Kelian, you're charming to drugged women, right? You come down here and talk to her.
Wow.
excuse me a moment. Kelian goes off to join them.
Okay.
And
I'll make room for
I'll
him.
cast Enhance Ability Charisma on Kelian. I'll say, "Kelian, you give it a go."
Okay. Yeah, Kelian, you have advantage on this next persuasion check, if that's what you're intending to do. I think you should shoot her.
You could also intimidate her.
No, Kelian, once he comes up to the scene and assesses what's happening, he just basically says, Riot, come on, enough of this. It's me, Kelian. You know it's me, Kelian. You remember the time you infiltrated my kip and you held me up at crossbow point? And
Remember it was
I will-
slightly singed?
Good times.
Yeah, make that opposed check. I would have given you advantage for that even without the spell.
oh my god, that's with advantage.
Oh my god.
Fuck it,
Barbaric-
I'm burning a belief point.
Okay.
Or 2 belief points it is.
Yep.
That is
I rolled really good on the wisdom though.
straight charisma.
No, it's persuasion.
Persuasion.
Persuasion. 13.
Bobrick is beside himself. He looks at Serenity. Let's just go in and take her. We'll drag her along. We'll bind her and carry her. We'll make sure that she's not hurt. Why is
Which
nobody
lizard
else
demon is it?
considering this idea? This is the one you now know to be Bobrick.
No, which lizard? I'm asking him which lizard demon is down there in the cave.
Oh, you would know that to be Riot, because that's who you guys were following this
They
time.
sound like the people that they are, or is it just the looks that are
Now
different?
that you've become convinced of that, now that you've become convinced they're your companions, you hear their voices behind the
The
lizard
monstrous
tongue.
lizardness.
Okay, I could probably overpower Riot. That seems like a good idea. I'll start going down into the cave.
So you guys are all at the mouth of the cave, doing your damnedest. And Serenity and Bobrick are coming down the hill, and Bobrick's rolling up his sleeves.
That
Is
didn't
this
work very
initiative
good
then?
last time,
Yeah.
Barbaric, but
That's initiative.
Kelian, I was gonna say, Kelian walks away from this. He's like, I did my part, whatever.
I just want everyone to see that.
What's Serenity at?
3.
3.
again.
What about
You
Riot?
can't roll a 3, you're a cipher.
I get. Oh yeah, sorry, 4.
What's Riot at?
15.
15. Okay.
It doesn't really matter.
All right, Riot. Are you going to oppose Bobrick's grapple? I mean, the giant scorpion that's reaching in the burrow and trying to snap you with his claw.
Yeah, this is terrifying.
Okay, you got to beat a 17.
That's
your-
probably not happening.
Either athletics or acrobatics.
Let's see, what have I got on those? Athletics, acrobatics. Those are both garbage for me.
Finally.
Yeah, that's a 12.
Okay, so the scorpion reaches in and clasps its claw hard around your ankle. By all rights, your foot should be gone. But you don't feel any pain. You're not bleeding. There's no sensation. But you are being dragged bodily out of this cave, and you claw at the dirt, at the soil, as he's pulling you out. Everybody else just sees Bobrick reach in with both hands, grab Riot by the ankle, and pull her out. Riot, you are surprised. Serenity.
I'll also grab him.
Okay. Well, she's
So,
already grappled, so no roll necessary.
Oh, okay. Then I'll just help carry her out.
Okay. So how do you bind her?
I've got some rope.
We
I'll
don't
just
need-
tie her
we-
hands behind her back.
Okay.
Don't need it.
Should be sufficient.
So Riot, after a few moments, these scorpions, which unbeknownst to you, somehow have the ability to weave spider webs. And they do. They bind your hands tightly behind your back and begin marching you away from your safe little burrow.
I'm just gonna cast Dissonant Whispers again. It's the only spell I've got that's only got a verbal component.
On who?
On one of the scorpions. The one who had got my ankles.
Okay. And all that does is makes Bobrick hold you the more tighter. Even though you're bound at the wrist, he links one of his scorpion claws through your bound elbow and is marching you along.
And then she just like starts sobbing and wailing.
It's us, Riot. I mean,
Right.
the rest of them are all lizard people. I don't know how they can convince you.
Riot, can just calm down. It's me, Ciclon. Just listen to my voice. Can you understand that it's me?
The problem with this is that Riot is the most persuasive person in the party,
By far.
so the voices in her head are really convincing.
So you guys get back to the shoreline, and again, Mornpod is sitting there. I'll leave it up to Riot what she sees Mornpod at, because her imagination's way better than mine. But a monstrous sea creature in any event. And what's next?
Say that we let these people sleep it off, I suppose.
Okay. So, the idea is to make camp here on the shore and wait it out.
Yeah.
Who's
Yeah, I
going
think
to be
so.
foraging for the next few days? Serenity is not able to do it.
I'll do it.
Mahogany? Okay.
Yeah.
Make a
Yeah, I
survival
can.
check.
If I forage in wolf form, can I do it at advantage?
No.
Because I can smell the prey.
No, because forage is not a perception check, it is a survival check.
Got it.
Skill synergy is a 3.5 thing. I think. Isn't that 3.5?
Yeah.
It is.
9.
9? You come back with no food. So you guys sit around the camp for a day, and after the end of the day, your bellies are empty, which means a level of exhaustion. The next day, Riot, go ahead and make your wisdom save again.
Okay.
Can we summon
Do I want high or
the
low
whale?
at this point?
It's a save, so you want high.
Oh, awesome.
After the rest, after sitting at the shore for 12 hours, Mahogany comes back with no food. Serenity proves useless, and Mornpod has, after explaining the situation to him, he resumed his patrol of the oceans.
Can't Mornpod get us
I was
more
about to
fish?
say, that's what I was getting at.
Yeah,
Like,
can
can we
we,
get more pod to get us
Can
some
we
fish?
get more pod to give us to help us out with some fish?
Yeah, when he comes back around next time, you guys can ask him.
Right.
Riot is just begging the others at this point, just please kill me instead of whatever you have in mind. Just end it swiftly.
We're not going to
Oh,
kill
good
you.
God, woman. Get a hold of yourself.
Mornpod does not surface the next day. So who's going to be hunting
Hey.
the next day?
I'll try again.
Okay.
And I'll
I think you well,
I'll wisdom myself.
can I try it instead? I do have my survival ability.
How is Ciclon hunting?
No.
I don't know.
Don't know? Okay.
Yeah.
Alright. Do I
was wondering if I
one
could
level of
aid?
exhaustion disadvantage on survival checks?
It is.
Alright, so I'll average back out to nothing.
Okay. That's with your enhanced ability.
Yeah.
God!
There was one.
Great.
And another day goes by with no food, and everybody takes a second level of exhaustion. At this point, Riot, go ahead and make your wisdom save again.
This
Okay.
isn't funny anymore.
Keely,
little-
Disadvantage, right?
not yet.
Kelian was going to try to persuade Riot. Just, again.
And you find yourself just totally incapable of getting through to her. She is absolutely solidified against anything any of you have to say.
I rolled a 15 this time.
Riot,
Mhm.
over the course of the couple days, when these scorpion creatures have you prisoner along the banks of this fiery ocean, you feel this pervasive emptiness in your stomach. You haven't eaten in so long. You don't even remember eating the boar at the feast, so whatever Serenity fed you before that was the last time you've eaten. And once or twice over the day, against your own willpower, you kind of black out from hunger. And when you wake back up, eventually the shock of it, you realize what's been going on. You had 7 companions. There are 7 scorpion creatures. The shape of the shoreline where you're at matches the 2 days you spent at the camp alongside the shore of Oceanus. it suddenly makes sense, and you become... I had to have ingested something that's causing me to see things that aren't there.
All right. So yeah, at some point, Riot finally stopped screaming.
Riot, are you back with us?
Which... Hello? Which
It's
one of you is
Ciclon.
that?
Elsie Clone. Are you
Okay.
back with us?
Alright, so you're Elsie Clone.
Yeah.
Who are you? And she motions with her head since she's still bound.
And in turn, all of your companions identify themselves. Except for
All
Mahogany,
entire.
who's off trying to hunt.
All entire.
And you find yourself untied. One of the scorpions reaches back and uses its claws to snip you free.
And I stretch and walk around a little bit.
Okay? The third day. Again, Mornpod does not surface.
Ciclon, you thought you could do it?
Give it a try.
Okay, make a survival check.
Alright, well,
It is at
I'll
disadvantage.
try to help you out, and I'll use my enhance ability on him, but then I'll just kind of sit down,
Okay.
because I clearly can't do it.
Elsie Clone goes out looking for food and finds it with 24.
So how does Elsie Clone hunt?
Elsie Clone would probably have set like some of the snares that he's used on the in Arborea, that kind of stuff. That
Okay. So yeah, you managed to go up over the hills, and you managed to snare you a couple of chipmunks that you bring back.
come back to the camp, looking pretty pleased with myself, and say, "May not be much, but I found something."
And he also finds some like edible tubers that he identified by the roots that he pulled up. So you all have enough to fill your bellies. You can take the long rest today
Cool.
and remove one level of
One
exhaustion.
level of exhaustion.
So we're all down back to neg 1 now.
And on the fourth day, Mornpod again does not resurface.
Riot makes a stab at playing the song.
And it comes out all wrong.
Yeah.
The drawbridge comes down and smashes all the monsters there. Who's foraging on the fourth day?
Well, Ciclon, you do it. I can't do anything.
Am I still disadvantaged at 1 level exhaustion?
Yes. One level is
Alright, so-
disadvantage on skill checks
So,
and ability checks.
but Nodal did give me the enhance ability, so. Yes!
Perfect. So everybody takes another level of exhaustion as the day goes by with no food. Today, LC Clone puts a stick together and is trying to fish, but nothing's coming out. Waking up the morning of the fifth day. I say morning, but the sun never sets here. Riot and Serenity. Your vision clears, and with that clarity comes back perfect recall of every moment of the revelry. You remember coming down. You remember being offered the wine. You remember the incredibly pleasing and calming sensation of the mulled wine entering your body. You remember the dancing and the chanting and the roasted boar. And inside of your head, you realize that you have an understanding of all the areas around you.
So you're saying what we really drank was not... It wasn't a potion of hallucination, it was actually a potion of enlightenment.
Enlightenment. So all of those hexes around you, suddenly you have this intuitive knowledge, not only of the small island you're on, but the position of the hills, the kinds of animals you can find here. You understand the hills across the ocean. You have an understanding of the topography of the ocean floor all around you. So this hex and everything within 2 hexes, the both of you, as long as you're traveling within that circle, nobody will have to make navigation checks.
Nice.
Sounds good.
And on that 5th day, Serenity is able to find food for everybody because everybody else is worthless at it. Let's see if Mornpod comes back. He finally does on the 5th day. Hey, chaotic creature, can't be counted on. Having gotten sidetracked on an excursion to Arborea, returns. And when he sees everybody famished and Serenity's brought back food, he does his part by flopping some sea life up onto the shore for you.
He was like,
Thank
oh yeah,
you.
that's right. I knew there was something I forgot.
Or someone.
So we're still at 1 level of exhaustion.
After that 5th long rest, yes.
Yeah.
You come back down to 1. So what's the next move?
Let's go looking for some more islands. This isn't the one, right?
No. Right, shakes her head. This is definitely not the one.
Why?
We don't.
Just isn't.
We don't know any circle rocks from what we know of this area, right?
There's no desert either.
Okay.
Yeah, that was the thing. Is there was a
Yep.
desert in the middle? Yes.
Right.
So this isn't it.
Fair enough.
Well, now I have an idea of just how wide this river is. Huh.
How wide
At
is
least
it?
here. Over a day's travel on boat?
Yeah, as wide as an ocean.
Yep.
So how do you all set off again? You're going to eradicate that last level of exhaustion? Spend another day on the Revelry Island? Dolphinder, during all of this, you notice that she's becoming quite agitated at just how much time you're spending away from Sigil. Her being the only one in the group with any actual faction responsibilities. And she keeps shooting dirty looks at Kelian, and everybody notices it. Also, the armor she wears doesn't leave a lot of skin showing, but on her wrists, you notice the underside of her arm becomes very slick and rubber-like and becomes covered in these tiny suction cups. Her whole skin takes on this grayish-greenish pallor over the course of your resting on this island. And you definitely see she's noticed it, and she's trying to act like it doesn't bother her, but you can see that she's in incredible discomfort in this armor. So you basically have two options. You can set out into your boat, or Mornpod has offered to escort you down the river as far as you care to go.
One pod seems more effective than we are.
Yeah, let's have
Yeah.
Pod take us to the next. See if he can take us to the next island south.
Yeah.
Okay, so you just want him to take you directly south?
Yeah.
Mornpod doesn't understand concepts like south. Because when he travels in
just point that
Oceanus,
way.
he generally follows the current. So you can point a direction, but after Oceanus' winds change, he'll lose the direction. The idea being you're still going to have to make navigation checks. Are we going to have El Ciclon continue to take that role?
He can do it once we leave the place where we don't need to make navigation checks.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm cool with that.
So the first idea is to get here.
Yeah.
Okay. Where's my map at? There it is. So you come up on this forested shore, and as soon as it comes in sight, Mornpod speaks to you, and he speaks to you while you're in his mouth, and his voice comes forward via the unintelligible, just wail drone
Whale song.
from very deep inside it, and standing on his tongue, the reverberations from it shake everybody standing there. But again, his words form in your mind, and he tells you that he too needs to rest periodically, so he will deposit you on this shore.
Is it an island though?
No idea. You just see it as a shoreline, kind of a rocky shore. There's not a beach area, but he finds a part. He does not know.
Okay.
Oh,
But he brings you up onto this rocky shore and lets everybody out, and then he disappears down beneath the waves.
All right.
All right.
I'll thank him.
Guess we should scout around, get our bearings out here.
Yeah, let's spend the day scouting and trying to just get the figure out if we're on an island or what.
Okay. It's incredibly windy. You do see a tree line up beyond the shore where he deposited you, and the trees are just bending over with the harsh winds that are scraping across the landscape. So who's doing the scouting?
I'll go scout.
Okay, where would you like to scout?
I'm gonna check out over here. I want to know whether or not we're on an island or not
Okay.
yet. So I think that's the best place to check.
Go ahead and throw that check.
Is this what kind of check is this? Is this survival? Can I'll wisdom myself or whatever the fuck wisdom myself?
Yeah, this is a
on
survival check, so yeah, you can use your enhance ability.
Alright, yeah, 'cause-
Enhance ability works really well on the beast.
Could I scout out here as well?
No.
Okay.
Wait, if it works really well, does that mean at a higher level?
No. I mean, it would if it would scale, but it doesn't scale. It just grants you advantage.
Oh, okay.
It can't grant you
yeah,
super advantage.
No, I wasn't sure whether it was one of those skills that where at a higher level, at a higher level you can target one additional creature. So I'm thinking I could give it to both myself and our navigator in the future.
Yeah, that would be okay.
Okay, so that'll come in handy.
Well, it's not... Okay, hold on. The only one it would work on would be Bear's Endurance. The way that the way this plane works with enhanced ability, because Bear's Endurance gives you 2d6 temporary hit points. What it would do is just grant you the 12 hit points without you having to roll.
Alright, good to keep in mind.
Yeah, so it's not going to scale up in level. It's just as powerful as the spell can be, it will always be that powerful.
Got it.
So yeah, you easily scout and you find the shore, but going up in that direction, you're heading up in elevation, so it's a sheer drop off into the cliffs, down into the Oceanus, crashing against the rocks below.
And I'll come back and I'll tell everyone that we're either on the river or this is an island.
And Mornpod surfaces after you take your breakfast the next day and asks if you should
Hello,
continue.
Mornpod. We're still looking around. Have you been able to find out if this is an island or not?
He doesn't know.
Okay, then.
Yeah. We're just gonna have to explore it for ourselves, I think.
Yeah. All right then. That's fine.
Before he depart, he'll give Riot one last chance to learn that song.
All right.
That's it.
Come on, right?
Oh, can I? I'll buff her with enhance ability.
Okay.
Okay.
Charisma, right?
Yeah, charisma.
Alright.
My
I'll
charisma's
knock out
really
those
good.
two
I've just been
spells.
rolling really low.
I'm
Well,
out of enhance ability.
You've been rolling really high on certain rolls.
Yeah.
This seems important though, so.
That's
Okay,
pretty
so
good.
a 19.
It's incredibly difficult to play on your guitar because you don't have the level of bass strings required. But you get it down to the point where Mornpod becomes excited. If he tells you if you play that song along the shores and you play it well, eventually myself or one of my kind will be along to aid you. Take patience. It may take several days, but it is a sure thing.
Understood.
And then
It's a sure thing.
we got it. He bids you all farewell. Good luck.
Thank you, Mornpod.
Tells you that he hopes your next excursion down Oceanus is more pleasant. Okay, so we're going to go back onto the hex crawl here. It's incredibly, incredibly windy right now. No rain, moderate temperature. So where are we going to? Are we keeping the same rolls with El Ciclon navigating, Serenity foraging?
It's worked out so far.
Yeah.
We're
I
no
mean,
longer
but-
exhausted, right?
Except when we were insane.
No, nobody's
I
exhausted
mean-
anymore.
I would kind of like to spend a day just exploring the edges instead of actually journeying, like scouting,
Okay.
trying to figure out the local
Yeah,
topography.
that's what I wanted to do the other day when Mahogany found that one, but that's fine.
Okay, El Ciclon, make a navigation check. This is not going to go anywhere. This is just going to be exploring the hex that you're on right now.
13.
13. Let me make sure that that's good.
I'll ping down
What
my
kind of-
level 1 spells and pass out
We're on
2 good berries there.
Forested Hills. You got a 13?
Yep.
Roll a d6. I'm sorry, roll a d10.
D10. 10 says 8.
8.
Mhm.
You have a lot of difficulty navigating once you leave the shoreline. The problem is that these hills are very heavily forested, and they're crisscrossed with rocky gorges that block your path. So you're constantly having to turn in different directions to follow the natural contours of these gorges, and once in a while you can get down into one, but then your path kind of zigzags in a variety of directions. So after 8 hours of this, you're just completely turned around. However...
Okay.
It's everybody's passive perception.
14.
14.
14. Okay.
15 or
11.
20 if it's smell based.
So where do you guys make a camp for the next day? Since you didn't want to travel anywhere today, what kind of terrain are you looking to make camp on?
Someplace hilly where we have or at the edge of a tree line where we have a good view of the surrounding area.
Okay.
Yeah, I prefer forests to the plains.
Yeah.
Not a lot in the way of plains in this area, but you managed to find a nice elevated spot up on the edge of one of these gorges. So you're looking down into a very dense forest in this valley below. The other side of the gorge is several thousand feet away from you. But your backs are to a tree line that's in the distance. So your immediate area is not forested. You're not sitting under the forest canopy here. And give me 1 second. Who's taking watch and in what order?
I'll take first watch.
I'll take second.
I'll take third.
Elsie Clone,
Yes.
during your watch, you don't hear it, you don't see it, but you notice. You guys have built a fire on the edge of this gorge, and you're keeping alert. You're keeping your back to the gorge. And every once in a while, you turn back, just to make sure that no monsters are coming up over the ridge and are going to do this crazy long jump for 1,000 yards and land on you. Which you wouldn't put past the beastlands at this point. But looking back, where your companions have their bedrolls laid out and are sleeping, you notice an arrow sticking out of the ground. About 20 yards away. In very plain view. And it seems there's
just
something...
land there, or
It's sticking in the ground, and it wasn't there a minute ago, and there's something tied to it.
Go over to the arrow,
Mhm.
untie it, take a look at it.
You untie it, and you unroll it, and it's a note. And the paper it's written on is crumpled parchment, and it's written in some kind of charcoal. And it just says, "Serenity, I'm a friend, may I approach?" I'm sorry, not Serenity. It says, "Mahogany, I am a friend, may I approach?" For some reason I got those two mixed up. It's because they're both asshole ciphers.
I'll
That's
nudge.
true.
I'll look
Yeah,
at
that's
it
fair.
and then nudge Mahogany. Nudge him to wake him up. Sorry to wake you up again, Mahogany. You apparently have mail.
I'll look it over.
And it's written in this crude charcoal, unidentifiable hand, and it just says, "Mahogany, I'm a friend, may I approach?"
Be right back again.
Well, I do like friends.
Give him the thumbs up, I guess. I'll look in the direction of where the arrow came from,
And
depending on how.
you're looking back into the tree line that's a couple hundred feet away from you.
I'll give a wave in that direction.
What does Mahogany do?
I'll do the same.
The same?
Mhm.
And eventually a figure drops down from one of the shorter trees, drops down from the branches, and it's an earth Genasi, and it's dressed all in hides. And he's carrying a homemade bow, and you recognize him as Lutu, the Genasi that you spared and sent away to the Beastlands.
Huh.
And he approaches your camp. As he does, he's holding his bow a distance away from his body, and he's holding his other arm where you can clearly see it. So you can tell that he's not meaning any hostility.
And I'll say, Lutu, you're looking better. Happier, too.
And he says, imagine my surprise to find you all skulking through my woods.
Your woods now. That's impressive.
I'll say they seem like perfectly nice woods. We're actually looking for a desert, though.
Back. Okay. He asks if you and your companions have provisions enough.
And I say, well, you know the Beastlands. Other than a couple times, we haven't really had any issue finding more.
He says, that's true enough. I didn't know this place until I came through here. And he expresses gratitude for your having sent him here. He expresses that he's found a place of peace after a very rocky start. Because I recall you guys sent him through with basically nothing.
You're not with the Vile Hunt, are you?
And he shakes his head.
Good.
So I had a couple of run-ins with them. In fact, that's how I ended up in this place. Because he must have made a similar journey to what you did, because Mahogany's portal brings him out, like, up here somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
And he tells you how he did have run-ins with both the Vile Hunt and with the Verdant Guild at one point or another, and he's decided to stay very clear of them both. It took him,
nods approvingly.
it took him some number of weeks to find a niche for himself, but he's found a place that he's very comfortable at, and he invites you all to come into his woods. He tells you he's got a hut built up in one of the trees.
Mahogany heads out with him. He's incredibly pleased to find that Ludu has found a place for himself where he can be himself.
Now, so do you wake everybody up and bring them with you? Or just going by yourself?
Did he invite everyone?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, then I'll wake everyone up.
Yeah, we'll rouse everyone, I guess.
And he's been on the Beastlands about at least a month, maybe two, longer than you have. And you can tell that he's gained some kind of mastery over these woods. And he tells you... He shows you the various plants that he's found are good to eat, which ones are good for medicines, and he's taking pride in expressing this mastery to all of you.
Mm-hmm.
And he does. He has this little shack built for himself, this little treehouse up in one of the trees. Definitely not sturdy enough to hold all of your number. But through the journey, he asks what brings you all here.
I'll explain that we're looking for a particular island along the Oceanus.
He confirms that you're standing on an island. This is a large one. It would be a couple days in any direction to take you to the other side, but I've made the journey myself.
Okay.
Any deserts on this one?
He says there are, but I don't go into them very often. There's not much reason. There's no resources, few animals.
That's what we're looking for.
Yeah, that's what we're looking for, is the desert.
Okay.
Yeah, the desert's on an island in the Oceanus.
Give me one brief moment, please. He has knowledge of this hex, this one, this one, this one, this one, and the shoreline surrounding him.
Yeah.
He confirms that it's an island, but he's not explored it in great detail. He's walked the perimeter of it and decided that this part here was, first of all, the best, the forest he knows most intimately, and second of all, it's closest to the portal back to Sigil, should he ever want to return. He tells you that it stays mostly forested all the way around. Towards the southern edge, it turns more into a wetland and becomes much more dangerous. But these forests here, these temperate hills, he knows the lay of the gorges and uses it to his advantage if anything dangerous approaches.
Riot asks him for his story, how he got to here all the way back from where the Beastlands enters.
And he relays stories similar to your own. part of the way he was chased by the Vile Hunt. He had a few very near brushes with death. He shows you scars on his torso and one on his leg where he suffered injuries and managed to scrape by. But the plane, the natural healing on the plane is enhanced. So anything that doesn't kill you literally makes you stronger. He tells you how he built a raft for himself to set out across the water. How Oceanus rocked him back and forth. He didn't encounter a whirlpool. You all still have him there.